What's good? What's good? What's good? All powers to oppressed people. African power to an African people and black power. What's good today? Despite all this going on in the world, what's good in your life? Man, it's your man Yanga. Um, Another P.E.C presentation. And I'm glad and I'm very proud and honored to be able to present this one, to be able to begin to break this one down. I've been asked about it on the Panther 48 with Brother War, Big E, Brother Psych. If you haven't checked them out, please get over there. Check it out. Subscribe. Like it. We need more political information. These brothers are bringing political information. They're challenging thought. You definitely want to do that. Anyway, I forget what particular show it is that I'm on. And War asked about, he says, Brother Yango, could you please break down the developments? The 3 developments, the 4 developments, this being the 4th development. He says, can you break down the developments? And, excuse me, sip of that coffee, man. I said, yeah. And I just kind of, I generalized it. I just really kind of went over because I didn't have everything I needed right there in front of me to give it due justice. I'm one of those type of people, especially when it comes to my ideology. I think everything deserves due diligence when it comes to promoting an ideology of liberation and independence, especially when you're telling people to participate in it. Believe in this, in your effort, your energy, your finances, your everything. Throw it behind this, and we will begin to get momentum that will eventually lead to our victory. And and that's difficult pushing that type of ideology because that involves so much. It involves more than just this dynamic political economic system that you have miraculously have that addresses every issue of poverty. It also encompasses a very real need to address the lack of moral direction and just unhealthy exchange between Black people and our social, cultural understanding, interactions. Really, the revolution should address that. That is, listen, I dare I say that is almost, man, I can't tell you how much emphasis I put on that. Just really, if we have better, healthier social interactions. But I don't want to digress. This is about the formations. So, and also, let me say this, who I'm honored to bring and present the formations by is Dr. Muhammad Ahmad, formerly known as Max Stanford of the Revolutionary Action Movement, R.A.M. Dude, total genius, Black genius, puts his thing together. And this is where these writings are coming from. So I go into it. We're going to the developments of the Black Panther, the whole Black Panther Party, Black Panther Formation, its foundation. Lowndes County Freedom Organization, LCFO, was founded in 1965 under the leadership of Stokely Carmichael of SNCC, SNCC. Lowndes County was a Black independent electoral party in Alabama using the tactics of armed self-defense. Dig it. 1965. We go back to the Lowndes County Freedom Organization, founded by Stokely Carmichael, founded in 65, under the leadership of Stokely Carmichael. This is heavy to know. This is the first development of the Black Panther Party. Let me see if I'm getting this right. So, peace, Angel, peace, Hood Therapy. The Lowndes County, the LCFO, was a Black independent electoral party in Alabama, using the tactics of armed self-defense. The LCFO chose the Black Panther as its symbol, and it became known as the Black Panther Party. The strategy of the BPP was to elect independent candidates in an attempt to control the community in which African Americans were majority legally. This was the first development of the Black Panther Party. So largely a lot of us who know a little bit about history know about this. The LCFO, I don't know if we really knew that Stokely Carmichael was the early leadership of the Lowndes County Freedom Organization. That's Stokely Carmichael of SNCC, who would later be known as Kwame Ture. 1965, Lowndes County, Alabama, first development. Its mission was to elect independent candidates in an attempt to control the community in which African Americans were the majority legally. It was a political party, radical reformism. It hadn't evolved to a revolutionary party yet, as of yet. Why? This is before even Stokely Carmichael had taken the name Kwame Ture. This is at the inception of Black Power. Here we're about to find and see how the Black Panther evolved into the defense mechanism it is, and what we call the third development, what many call the original under Bobby Seals and Dr. Huey P. Newton. But here it started along in the mix with this civil rights madness that's going on. Here we found, because they hadn't quite evolved to revolutionary ideology, complete total separation ideology, still being highly influenced in the whole civil rights movement. We see the birth of a very radical reformist theory here. All Black independent party, where we're the Black majority, man. We're going to challenge the system within the system, you dig? And we have to applaud this type of effort. It's easy to look back now and say, oh, man, they were crazy. But this was radical. Everyone else was fighting to be a part of the system. We were designed freedom, and here's how radical it was. We're designed freedom, but what does that look like when you've been indoctrinated by a system? So before you can have this complete epiphany, man, my phone's going on. Before you can have this complete epiphany on revolutionary ideology, a whole new concept. This is why we give Malcolm a lot of credit. Stokely Carmichael and them a lot of credit. They were birthing something brand new. When's the last time one of you guys had an original thought? Real talk. When is the last time one of you guys had original thought? We are so automatically programmed, we don't even know it. That's the job of good programming. That's excellent programming. So here we find, before this, like I said, this epiphany, we see the fledglings, the sparks of the desire for independence through political participation, radical reformism. In fact, what they were called was the Lowndes County Freedom Organization, which wanted to elect independent candidates in an attempt to control the community in which we were the majority. That's the first development. Let's go into the little known second development. Again, we're coming from the writings of a beloved teacher of mine. It's my Abu's. It was his partner, my father's partner. For you non-Arabic speaking people, now I'm just teasing. It's how he was raised. He's always been Abu. So it's when my father, I can't even say it, my Abu's partner. All right. And brilliant man, professor, if I'm not mistaken, he was the director of Black Studies at Cleveland State, later to take on the position of the directors of Black Study in Philly at Temple. Dr.Muhammad Ahmad, formerly known as Max Stanford Revolutionary Action Movie. We're coming for his writings. Brilliant man. I am so honored to have been able to sit under him, learn from him. In fact, my son's mother, Abdul Razak's mother, was his assistant. So thank you for that, Professor, that introduction. It brought back a fine young man, Abdul Razak. Anywho, we find the second development of the Black Panther Party occurred on the East Coast. Yes, the second development of the Black Panther Party occurred on the East Coast as SNCC developed an alliance with revolutionary Black nationalists in where? New York. The second development of the Black Panther Party occurred on the East Coast as SNCC developed an alliance with revolutionary black nationalists in New York. Now we see the merging. Remember, we had this first development, Lowndes County, Alabama. Now we see the merging. We see them finding dissatisfaction. No, you have to study what happened to Lowndes County, Alabama, go into a little bit of Fannie Lou Hamer, the whole thing of her being shut out by the Democratic Party, her being asked to be a concessionist, to compromise, to take certain concessions for participation in the staunch stance that you took. But now you start to see where they begin to taste how futile this reformism is, regardless of how radical. Into the second development, where we find this new, because developments are evolutionary steps. Developments are evolutionary steps. You must evolve or die. That simple. The revolution is based on material dialectics and historical materialism. It is based on actual tangible changes that have created patterns. And when man scientifically applies certain factors, subjective, realistic, objective, subjective factors, what I can't control, what I have realistically, minimizing the objective, spookism, fantasies, prayers, wishing on a star, all of that shit, begin to really mold and develop themselves, where their subjective factors become the main driving force in revolution, real shit. When that happens, then we can see, you begin to understand how we go into developments. So they've hit a glass ceiling at this point. They're finding out that the radical reformism is just not quite making the mark. It just doesn't have the teeth they need. And being true to form, true to black nationalism in the sense of understanding the imperative of us recognizing that we are a people moving collectively. They opened up. They weren't like the SCLC. They weren't like, Stokely Carmichael began to open up the conception of SNCC and began to invite solution-oriented people. And lo and behold, what did they do? Develop an alliance. Second development of the Black Panther Party. East Coast, they developed an alliance with revolutionary black nationalists in New York. When the shift toward black power occurred in SNCC, R.A.M., this is the Revolutionary Action Movement, decided to develop a public mass black political party. Meetings were convened in Harlem, New York, with independent nationalist forces to bring together a coalition which they wanted to call the Black Panther Party. R.A.M. wrote SNCC a letter asking if the party could be called the Black Panther Party. Dig what just happened. Now Hood Therapy didn't start in California. And here's the thing, Hood. I think, if I'm not mistaken, you're from Cleveland. Watch how influential Cleveland is in the house in this. Like I said, going back to even Dr. Muhammad here, Don Freeman, a lot of these greats, a lot of these independent, freedom-loving people are right there in the Midwest. It's incredible. So there again, let me go back, man, so we can get this. First development is where Lowndes County, Alabama, Black Panther Party founded, 65. Stokely Carmichael, Black Independent Electoral Party, using the tactics of armed self-defense. That was them. Their emblem was the Black Panther. They bumped into a wall, opened up. Second development, New York, where these same people bumped into revolutionary black nationalists, and they invited what? Black nationalists from all over to build a coalition. When the shift toward black power occurred in SNCC and SNCC, R.A.M. decided to develop a public mass black political party. A public mass black political party. All invited, all are welcomed. Bring your concerns. It's not Democrat, it's not Republic, it's not up, it's not down, it's black. What's happening with you as a black person? Let us discuss it. Meetings were convened in Harlem, New York with the independent, here and again, another key point for those. I hope you guys are listening. Key point. Independent national forces. Meetings were convened in Harlem, New York with independent national forces to bring together a coalition, which they wanted to call the Black Panther Party. So here again, you had all of these independent nationalist groups coming together. And what did they want to call themselves? Let's call ourselves the Black Panther Party. Here's how we maintain integrity. Here's how we maintain the connection. This is how we begin to go into developments. It wasn't this Yahoo McDaniel stuff we see happening now. Pardon to the indigenous people. I didn't mean to say Yahoo McDaniel. Pardon. I'm glad Cleveland got rid of that racist image. But it wasn't this. Yeah, Yahoos, like pirate Yahoos and scallywags and all of them clowns. They didn't just bust out, hey, we want to be the Black Panthers. This is what we're going to do, and we're going to take on the Black Panthers, and so be it. No, it wasn't that. What they did was, because they were along the same lines, they were working with some of the same people that had formed the Lowndes County Freedom Organization in connection with these Black nationalists, right? And when they did that, then they said, okay, we got this working ideology. We all agree on it. What are we going to call ourselves? Black Panthers. Right on, right on. What did they do? You have to love this part. To me, this is a major part of the teaching. They wrote a letter asking if the party could be called the Black Panther Party. They asked permission, maintaining the integrity, the intentions, the respect, the continuance of the party. The brother who wrote the letter, this is who we're actually reading from. He said, I wrote Stokely Carmichael asking if it was all right to use the name Black Panther into forming another support branch of the BPP. Through the New York SNCC office, the word came back, okay, go ahead, right off. Queen Mother Adley Moore on July 13th, 1966, began to organize weekly Black nationalist action forums at the YMCA in Harlem. If you don't know who Queen Mother Adley Moore is, you must go look her up. Google her, please. Google her, please. It is hard to continue to teach revolution if we don't acknowledge the queens of revolution. And they go farther than acknowledging the Black Mamba, Assata Shakur. Yeah, hands off Assata. But how do we not know who the queen is? Queen Mother Adley Moore, please Google her. Or everything else that we're doing right now is just, I mean, real talk. Real talk. We must know who the mothers are. And P.E.C. is going to have the opportunity to present these people. But in the meantime, in between time, I encourage you to search out. So Queen Mother Adley Moore on July 13, 1966, began to organize weekly Black nationalist action forums at the YMCA in Harlem. These meetings were recruiting sessions for the Black Panthers of New York. The object of the BPP was to create an independent, multi-class front organization led by revolutionary action nationalists and Marxist-Leninists to increase Black political empowerment. That's heavy. A lot just went on there. And we're going to do the politicals on it. Let's ride for a minute. I got a couple seconds. What time is it? Make sure it's 6. Debate come on in a minute. Not long. I'm not going to be long. But I want us to catch that. Dig what just happened here. When the Queen Mother was organizing these Black nationalist action forums, first of all, that's the key word, WAWAP. That was the mindset. They knew what they were going for. They were going for Black nationalist action, period. That was it. This is the second development of the Black Panther Party in New York on the East Coast. We find it developing and being cultivated. July 13, 1966, Queen Mother Moore is organizing weekly Black nationalist action forums at the YMCA in Harlem. These meetings were recruiting sessions for the Black Panther Party of New York. Remember the continuation, 1, 2, 3, first Lowndes County, Alabama. This is the second development. Lowndes County, Alabama being 1965. This is the second towards the, there at the end of 65 going into, and Mother Moore is recruiting for them. In 66, began organizing weekly Black nationalist action forums in Harlem. These meetings were recruiting sessions for the Black Panthers. The objective of the Black Panther was to create an independent, dig this, to create an independent multi-class front organization. An independent multi-class front organization, meaning, let me do the revolutionary political science on this. That these would be groups that held their independent structure, their independent leadership. They would share the same ideology of liberation, but the independent structure, the independent leadership, the independent functions on their class level, multi-class, from the Black intelligentsia to the lumpen proletarian, or to the proletarian to the lumpen proletarian, to the working class and those below the working class. They would be a multi-class. So they would have these different groups working on all levels, combating this system, taking the front, vanguard movements. That's what that is, an independent multi-class front organization. Now here's the kicker, led by who? Revolutionary nationalists, revolutionary Black nationalists, and Black Marxist-Leninists to increase Black political empowerment. Two things happen here. One, we find the more politically conscious class or ideologically based sectors of the revolution being asked to take lead in the revolution. What was that? The revolutionary Black nationalists and the Black Marxist-Leninists. That's important to note. Why? Because not only is it telling us to put the, in my opinion, of course, this is how I'm perceiving the lesson, that the ideology must be crystal clear, whether it's led through political or through arms. It must be crystal clear. So those that probably were the most staunch and ideologically clear and solid were asked to lead the movement, revolutionary nationalists and Black Marxist-Leninists. Secondly, it points out that they're not one and the same. That they're not one and the same. And this is where I respectfully disagree with the West Coast and Dr. Huey P. Newton in taking that line more Marxist-Leninist. I think that opened up a bigger can of worms. I think it opened up a big can of worms, but that's a whole nother different discussion. I'll be discussing the split. Now, many of you know that there was a unfortunate split in the Panthers. Let's stick to, so this is the second development. The New York Black Panther Party was established in June of 1966 and had approximately 250 members from July 1966 to October of 1966. Wow. Second development. The New York Black Panther Party was established in June of 1966 and had approximately 250 members from July 1966 to October of 1966. Its purpose was to implement an independent Black electoral strategy in order to break African-American allegiance with the Democratic and Republican Party and eventually the capitalist system. Sounds familiar. If we remember the rhetoric or the points of Lowndes County, Alabama, Black Panther Party, what were they started for? Founded in late 1965. This is the first development. Lowndes County, Alabama. Under the leadership of Stokely Carmichael, the Lowndes County Freedom Organization was a Black independent electoral party in Alabama using the tactics of armed self-defense. The strategy of the Black Panther Party was to elect independent candidates in an attempt to control the community in which African Americans were the majority legally. That's the first development. Sounds awfully familiar. Now we go to the second development. This is why I say it's evolution and continuation. It shouldn't be anything so strange that you don't recognize it. What is the second development? The second development is the New York Black Panther Party was established in June of 1966 and had approximately 250 members from July 1966 to October of 1966. Okay. Its purpose, remember the purpose of the first one. Its purpose was to implement an independent Black electoral strategy. Woof, sounds awfully familiar. In order to break African American allegiance with Democratic and Republican parties and eventually the capitalist state. Its objective was still very political. It was was to implement an independent Black electoral strategy. There again, it's still very political. It tried to break blind allegiance to these Democrat and Republican. Revolution is an uphill battle. I'm telling you, it's almost like magician work. We're trying to make something appear out of thin air and make Black people believe in it. And what's strange, it's not hard to believe in because it's only believing in yourself. It's only believing that you possess everything you need to be free, that you don't need nobody help you be free. How you need somebody help you be? No, thank you. No, thank you. I got this. No, thank you. I got this. Let me have this. Can I have this? You know, so that's a natural thing. So trying to break that, the second development was going through that route. It worked in unity with the Black Panther Party in Lowndes County, Alabama, first development. It also had the support of Congressman Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Its tactics was one of armed self-defense, but it did not stress it publicly and kept the defense units separate or underground from its public organizations. Here's where we found the difference. This one kept, when Lowndes County, Alabama, when it started political and armed defense of your political rights, was out and open. Crack, it is what it is. If you come get some of this, this is what it is. In New York, we found a different vibe. It was more clandestine. It was more underground. And I can understand why. It's when you look at the gun laws in New York, real talk, no, different environment. There again, that's why I'm telling you how revolution evolves. Different environment. Gun laws are different. Toting is different. Politics is different. And so you find the mechanisms. In New York is where the BLA was born, Black Liberation Army, out of New York. So you find the politics are different. So revolutionaries develop different mechanisms. They developed an above ground and underground. I can empathize. I know what it is to have to develop different mechanisms. I'm down here in Atlanta. I had to develop a mechanism for neocolonialism. I had never seen so many buffoon and cooning ass Negroes till I moved to Atlanta. I was like, damn, you can't holler at a white man in Atlanta. They ain't trying to hear none of that. They don't want to hear none of, save all of that. But that's just entertainment. They're not trying to hear none of that in the A. Because everywhere it's neo-colonialism, baby. It's blackface in white place. It's the black police jacking you up, cuffing you up, roughing you up. It's the black judge giving you 100 million thousand years plus 20. It's black. It's the black store that done gypped you. It's the black brother that done robbed you. It's black on black on black. And I had to develop, and that's when I had to learn. I was like, man, so my teaching's coming from Cleveland, coming from the Midwest, where a white boy jump out and shoot you. Might have a brother accompanying him. But you know what it is. The conflict is real. It's in the Midwest that, you still got Klan want to come down and hold rallies at the Capitol. I can't remember the last time they tried that in Atlanta. They're still doing that in the A? Anybody know? So the laws are different. So you develop different mechanisms. So in New York, they developed an above ground and an underground. A good thing they did, because it was the underground apparatus that freed Asada. I mean, revolutions, if they're serious revolutions and you have serious participants in the revolution, begin to evolve and become what the people need. what the revolution needs. All right, so we find that they were more underground and they had an above ground. The Black Panther Party not only concerned itself with electoral politics, but was also an activist community organization. Huh? Not only did it concern itself with electoral politics, it was an activist community organization. It believed in socialization. They still we got to remember what's happening here. We're still intertwined and moved in with the civil rights type shit that wasn't addressing the socialization and the independence of Black people. They was trying to assimilate and integrate. And here you had these Black people who still believed, okay, maybe if we got the politics to say that. So they were trying to find the independence in politics. They were trying to be independent political, but you can't be independent in a corrupt system that won't allow you to be. But it's like the quest of fire. It's like caveman evolving. I thank them for pushing the extreme limits of those things to show us. Now we have the luxury of looking back and say, they did that. We're not, we say it. I hate we say it so disrespectfully though. We're not our ancestors. That's kind of disrespectful. I am my ancestors. We're not those ancestors. May they be blessed and elevated. So you won't get those responses. May they be blessed and elevated. So that's what we're saying. So here we find that they weren't just with the politics. They got into the socialization. They understood that independence in politics wasn't enough. They were activist community organizers. They were organizing community to be independent. One of the first activities the party engaged itself in was the struggle for quality education of children in Harlem. It participated in demonstrations of school boycotts to schools and raised the slogan of community control of schools. The very thing we find going on in Georgia. Check it out. I talked about it earlier. I talked about it on Nundy's show. If you haven't went and checked it out, Nundy's back, y'all. Big ups. Boop. Yo, Sister Nundy, 3GP. Check out the page. Subscribe and like as if you hadn't already. But if you hadn't, man, you slipping. Tell somebody about it. And I talked about it earlier, man. She let me go on a rant. Thank you, Nundy. And I talked about what they the bills they were passing that gave Parents' Right 499. Don't quote me on. I believe it is Parents' Right 499. Look it up. It just passed the Senate, yo. And it gives the parents the right to say what is too much, what their little Timmys and little Beckys can't take being taught, what's too sensitive. You better know your Black ass going to be wrote out of history. It's too sensitive to know that they invented the cotton gin or that Benjamin Banneker did the almanac and redesigned Washington and all of these things. It's going to be too sensitive. You better believe it. Slavery is going to be too sensitive of an issue to teach. They were immigrants. You guys were immigrants who worked for very little or nothing by the time they'll be done rewriting it. So they were fighting for very noble cause, if you ask me. The Black Panther Party of a second development of New York was fighting. One activity of many was fighting for community control of the schools. According to Ahmad Muhammad Shelton Duncan, an ex-member of the new Black Panther Party, ex-member of the New York Black Panther Party. The Black Panther Party had reached a broad, and this is quote from Shelton Duncan. The Black Panther Party had reached a broad spectrum of people. Approximately 300 people attended weekly Black Panther Party meetings from July to October 1966. The Black Panther, with community groups, called a boycott of 2 elementary schools in Harlem on September 12, 1966, to protest the absence of Black history reading materials in the New York school system. This was the beginning of community control of schools movements. Bingo, that's right on. That's right on. That's a noble cause. See, little stuff like that, you can tell you ain't doing nothing else. You're not doing anything else. Why not be involved, be active in your child's education? You better find out what the state is teaching your child. Do you know how much time your children spend with state paid teachers? Do you know how much time your children spend with state paid teachers? Do you really believe that they're not teaching, especially some of you, in a particular economic class or social, economic class? That's what I'm going to say. Racial, social, economic class. That cover all us, the peoples. The peoples. The racial, social, economic class that they are dependent on, that has to be maintained. Do you not think that these public schools are institutions of a certain degree of inferiority and dependence upon that system? And they have us, I don't know, so preoccupied. And I ain't even gonna say that. We're not petty bourgeoisie housewives. We're not preoccupied. We're struggling to survive like a motherfucker. We struggling to survive, and then with our preoccupation, pardon me for wanting to live, damn, for wanting to provide for my family, with that very worthy and real preoccupation, you're teaching my children bullshit. You're teaching them to be dependent on the very thing I'm busting my ass to try to get out of. Shit, revolution's the only solution. Anyway, don't get me started. So, hold it. Pardon. That's daddy, baby. Okay, pardon me. So, reported in an article in the Amsterdam News, September 3rd, 1966, Black Panthers open Harlem Drive, described as an event in which William Epton, head of the Harlem branch of the Progressive Labor Party, Stokely Carmichael, chairman of SNCC, and Max Stanford, our man, Muhammad Ahmad, a member of the Black Panther Party, spoke at a meeting of 250 people. The New York Black Panther Party, along with other community groups, called for a boycott of 2 Harlem schools on September 12, 1966. And this is in the Amsterdam News. Right on. This is in the Amsterdam News. You dig? They boycotting the schools. Let me read it again. Reported in an article in the Amsterdam News, September 3rd, 1966. Black Panthers open Harlem Drive. That's in quotes. Described as an event in which William Epton, head of the Harlem branch of the Progressive Labor Party, Stokely Carmichael's, chairman of SNCC, and our man whose paper I'm reading right now, Max Stanford, a member of the Black Panther Party, spoke at a meeting of 250 people. The New York Black Panther Party, along with other community groups, called for a boycott of 2 schools in Harlem on September 12, 1966. Through the R.A.M organizational structure, a directive was sent to R.A.M cadres. R.A.M is Revolutionary Action Movement. I will be building on R.A.M. I will be building on R.A.M. Through the R.A.M organizational structure, a directive was sent to R.A.M cadres to develop a public coalition with community activists to develop the Black Panther Party. R.A.M's rationale for entering into an alliance with SNCC to form the Black Panther Party is described in a R.A.M internal document titled Step Towards Organizing a National Movement in the African American Struggle for National Liberation, Part 2. That is what we're participating in. National liberation struggle. Don't get it twisted. When they ask you, tell them again. Say it proudly. What are you fighting for? National liberation struggle. It's what I meant. It just means I want to wake up. I no longer want to be, siphoned like a car is siphoned from gas, or just, the blood sucked out of me, my intellect, my resource, my money. I just want to benefit from the fruits of my labor, intellectual, enjoy my children, live in safety, evolve naturally like a human being should be able to. That's it. That's it. I don't want no trouble. I don't want no trouble. So that means I'll do anything and everything to stop trouble from happening to me. And I know compromising doesn't stop the trouble. I've seen it, historical materialism. I'm looking at it. So then we have to have understanding, even if that understanding starts with, like, I love what they're doing here, boycotting the schools where they couldn't control the curriculum. Let's boycott the stores, boycott the shit. Let's start controlling our destiny on that level. So we find them doing this. All right, don't get me amped on that. So the internal document said, the concept of the Black Panther Party and Mississippi Freedom Labor Union has opened up new awareness for the development of a national movement. Organize, deepen, and expand the Black Panther Party nationally, North and South. Revolutionary Black nationalists must do this in order to keep from being isolated from the masses of our people, and also to seize the initiative in our struggle to develop a broad mass. My page is to develop a broad mass. Got it. Community organizational base. Okay, let's touch on that. That's a bad directive. That's a bad directive. Remember, this is the second development, Black Panther Party. This is the second development, Black Panther Party. Right? Founded in hold on, man. I didn't got okay. 94, 95. I ain't got some paperwork. There it goes. Founded in what? This is the second Black Panther Party, the second development of the Black Panther Party, founded on the East Coast. The Black Panther Party, the second development of the Black Panther Party, was established June of 1966. The first development was founded in late 1965. The first development, Lowndes County Freedom Organization, under the leadership of Stokely Carmichael, 1965. The New York Black Panther Party was established in June of 1966. We went through that whole history of the Black nationalist meetings as called by Queen Mother Moore, right? Cool. So we're at the part where we're talking about the second development in New York, June of 1966, has boycotted 2 Harlem schools. They're demanding community control of the schools. They're complaining about a lack of Black material, African-American material being taught to their children. And so the directive goes out from my man who is Black Panther in the second development, also a operator of R.A.M, Revolutionary Action Movement, bringing this unison. And he sends out the directive. The internal document entitled Step Towards Organizing a National Movement in African-American Struggle for National Liberation, Part 2. The concept, and it writes, or reads, the concept of the Black Panther Party and Mississippi Freedom Labor Union has opened up new awareness, for the development of a national movement. Organize, deepen, and expand the Black Panther nationally, North and South. Revolutionary Black nationalists must do this in order to keep from being isolated from the masses of our people, and also seize the initiative in our struggle to develop a broad mass community organizational base, North and South. For a Black Panther to be meaningful, it must deal with the questions of economic power as related to the political system. By developing a national Black Panther Party, we can develop our struggle to an even level of consciousness in every Black community. Wow. All right. I'm gonna answer 2 questions in chat real quick. Let me try to spell her name, Queen Mother Moore. Let's see if we can spell her name in chat, you guys. Let's see. Wow. That is Seduction. I've been on maybe about 40 minutes now. That is incredible. That whole directive of, pardon me, typing skills are not like that. Adelie Moore. Okay. There you go. Get you in there. So we find their directives are, man, wow. And what he's telling people, we have to expand this Black Panther Party. We have to expand the concept and the understanding, the determination or the desire for determination and the need for the masses to participate in their own struggle. We can't be isolated from the masses. That was the dominant theme. And what should we go after? What is meaningful? He says, in order for the Black Panther to be meaningful, it must deal with the question of economic power as related to the political system. Why and how are we being robbed and deprived of the means of self-sufficiency? Why are we still in survival mode? How is this tied into the political system, which is tied to what? The education, the preschool to prison pipeline, how prisons are privatized, how poverty increases crime, and prisons being privatized. You need customers. If I have a business, if you make it a personal business, I need customers. If someone presents his argument right, you'll understand what lobbyists do. I need customers as a prison since they're privatized. And so judges have more incentive to give longer sentences, to criminalize us. Politicians have more incentive to run under the law and order, more policing, more laws tied to the economic power, because we all just trying to get it. We all just trying to survive. They might get you for jaywalking, trying to get to work. I'm telling you, we're all just trying to survive. And somewhere down the line, you're going to hustle. You might have a bus pass that don't have your name on it. 100 years. Down here, it's MARTA. Moving Africans rapidly through Atlanta, baby. Moving Africans rapidly through Atlanta. Down here, it's MARTA. They might get you. Might not have a bus pass with your name on it. Slam your ass up. 100 years. Prisons are privatized. So we find, he said, to be meaningful, the Panther must address the economic problem as it's related to the political system. By developing a national Black Panther Party, we can develop our struggle to an even level of consciousness in every Black community. We can maximize to an even level of consciousness. We begin to teach them the reality of fiat currency, what the real resources are. Nationalizing the real resources just simply mean be aware of what is valuable and what isn't, and you are the most precious resource of anything around you because you make it all work. And once it starts with you understanding the value of you, you begin to understand what's a trinket and what the fuck is it. See, when you don't value yourself, you're like a $2 whore. I'm sorry, I just gotta be. You're like anyone can wave a trinket in front. You don't value yourself. You giggling, jumping in cars and shit. It ain't even real gold. Pimping. So when we value ourselves, we begin to see these trinkets that the state weighs in front of us. We begin to see through the curtains of this very thin veil of capitalism, consumer capitalism. We know that we're bigger than that punk ass product they're trying to push on us. We understand that we make the product doesn't make us, that we're the biggest advertisers. You ain't want that iPhone until you saw your partner was getting an iPhone. Envy, jealousy, and petty punk bourgeoisie capitalism amongst broke people at that. It's crazy. What they say, keep it up with the Joneses. So we understood that we had to address all of this, and the Panther would create the organism that would be the filter. You know, you go in a nigger, you come out a Panther. You go in and you begin to resolve these issues, understand these contradictions, and adapt revolutionary ideology, philosophy, which only can be fully understood through revolutionary lifestyle. Full participation in communal politics, that means hands-on in the fucking community. You know what I'm saying? Then you come out a different type. And the Panther Party provides that. So that's what he's saying that. He says we can educate our people to the fact the existing political system is anti-Black and break their allegiance with both the Democratic and Republican parties and also from the capitalist system. Bingo. The purpose of the Black Panther was to provide a political alternative for Black people to the capitalist, racist, Democratic, and Republican parties, and also exhaust the legal political means of protest. They wanted to pull back, as far as on the political front, they wanted to pull back. They wanted to pull back the blind allegiance to the Black Panther, to the Democrat and Republican Party. They wanted to pull that back. They knew that our participation in that was so not advantageous to us that we would just, like I said, those $2 whores, that they felt that imperative to do. It says, we saw the purpose of the Black Panther Party was to offer Black people a radical political alternative to the political structure of this country. Remember, I was telling you they believed in radical reformism? We're getting there. We're getting the revolution, but you have to understand, we talked about the evolution. I can't go all the way back. That's 40 minutes of conversation ago. But we talked about evolution. So we see him here still struggling with radical reformism and understanding the need for radical reformism. But watch how the frustration grows. We see how it went from Lowndes County, Alabama to this. Direct action against the state. Now they're into the boycotting schools and taking community control, where in Lowndes County, Alabama, it was more political. They didn't really have that social apparatus like that. It still was, I don't want to say elitist, but still very political, which in the Black community was, it had its classes. You can go back and look at the civil rights movement. You can clearly see the classes, the separations of the classes in the Black community. So this is more of you see in the second development, more of the socialization of the party. And they say, we saw the purpose of the Black Panther Party was to offer Black people a radical political alternative to the political structure of this country. We did not see the party as waging armed struggle, but of moving the masses of our people to the political and ideological form of the struggle that moved our people through struggle against the system. They hadn't went to the armed struggle. This is still in New York, where their armed movement is still very, the armed aspect, the armed wing of this party, this revolutionary party or radical reformist party at this time, still had their defense wing was largely underground. And so they still believed in moving the masses of people through political and ideological form of struggle against the system. The purpose of the Black Panther Party was to exhaust the legal avenues of struggle within the system. I applaud the very radical reformers. There again, that's why that's the second development. We see where that got us. You couldn't exhaust the legal avenues of struggle within the system. Not with criminals. Moving our people politically and ideologically, form of struggle, I think, is necessary. I don't think it ends there. Doom, 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 doom. The New York Black Panther Party had a youth and political ideological section called the Black Guards that was supposed to be the police. You know what? Listen, phone ringing off the hook. We're going to have a part 2. I got so much to do. We're going to have a part 2 of this. I appreciate everybody coming through, hanging out for the moment. Check out my part 2. Maybe I'll put out the notice. Again, check out everybody who support Seduction. I see you coming through. Check Seduction's page out. Of course, the camp. Thank you. Thank you, Hood Therapy. Thank you, Sister Angel. Everybody that come and hung out with me. We're going to have a part 2 to this, man. I think that is necessary, especially if we're going to be revolutionaries, whether you're a Black Panther or not. I think that it's necessary to have our story told by a revolutionary, yours sincere, yours truly. You dig? Our story told by one of us to maintain this integrity, to keep the fight going, keep hope alive. And like I said, even if you're not going through the Panther formation, to know that there is a development, to get these dates and names, to get these facts. It was given to me by my Abba, my Abu. Chairman Kahal passed it down to me. And now I'm burdening you with the responsibility of getting it and passing it on. With that, man, I'm gonna leave y'all how I greeted y'all. And that's all powers to oppressed people. African power to an African people. And Black power. Subscribe and hit the like button on your way in or out. Peace. Bro said peace like Russell Simmons. Black peace.